Yo, what's up guys, it's Skunked here, welcome to another list. Like a top 10 list, so I'm gonna talk about one of my favorite Cartoon Network shows, Regular Show. Regular Show was a show that made me awesome. Like, some of the episodes were amazing and jumping, so today, let's look at the weirdness and the darkest and the bad and the gray episodes. So, I do know Regular Show was canceled 2 years ago, but it's still a really good Cartoon Network show of the 2010s. So today, let's check out the top 3 weirdest and darkest and worst and best Regular Show episodes. Guys, just a warning ahead that I think this might be my longest I've ever done. It's like a top 12 list. Well, I'm not really sure. Well, anyway, you guys, let's go on to the countdown. Number 3 weirdest. Prank callers. Well, this episode was a bit strange. Is that Mordecai and Rigby keep on doing silly prank calls and keep on doing mom prank call jokes. Even Winston did break the phone, and they decided to borrow Pops' phone, and then they kept on pranking on the master prank caller. They were calling the master prank caller over and over again. They wouldn't leave them alone. And then they go into this weird time dimension to the 80s. Yeah, and they just saw the whole part looks different, and Pop looks so young.
Watch now. Why does Pops look so young?
Yeah, and then the master prank caller kept on pranking over Mordecai and Rigby and make them wear really weird 80s disguises. Yeah, and they just called their friends to make them help them. And the way that they had to make the master prank caller stop is that they had to prank the master prank caller and making them turn off the power button to make him stop working.
I said! Just kidding. You just got pranked, loser. Now! Now, Rigby! Hit the power button!
Who's the best prank caller now, jerk this?
No!
Yeah, and there was some old guy being up there, and so they had to prank other people. They had to take them with them and make them prank other people. That's kind of nice. And the third darkest Regular Show episode is Dead at 8. Guys, that episode Dead at 8 was really scary. I'm not really sure. Well, in this episode, after Muscle Man did a big mistake, like a fail in that water. From that water slide, he did a big fail, and then since he had to teach them a lesson, he had to babysit a very scary baby, and if they don't do very well, Muscle Man's gonna be dead at 8. The scariest part about this is that is with that scary snake that was going all over that house. Yeah, like from that last tab on that book, the snake just comes to life. Yeah, and they tried to get that thing out of the book, and the only way to do it is that Rigby had to get that soul, and then he had to get it right in the snake. Yeah, I don't know what was going on with that worm. I'm not really sure. Well, it all went fine, though. It all went fine at the end, and then Muscle Man was alive. And the third worst Regular Show episode is Skunked. Yeah, in that episode, Mordecai and Rigby were gonna do bingo, animal killing bingo. But when they got a skunk, they did a bingo, but it wasn't a real skunk. It was just alive, and it stung Rigby. And then it was actually trying to turn Rigby into a skunk. Yeah, and then his friends tried to make him back to normal, but I don't know what was going on. It might be a bit bad though, but he had to make that skunk spit away with some tomato sauce to make him back to make him in a human, and then they did gotta make it, which is a nice thing. But this part was just a bit bad though. Look at this part. I don't know what was going on with that part. It was a bit bad though. I'm not sure if it's bad or not, but I would almost call it number 4 or 2 or 1 or something. I'm not sure. And the third best regular show episode is Party Pete. That episode was just amazing, okay? It starts off that with that soda they just found while they were cleaning the attic. They just think that they want to throw a party with these, but Benson says not to, but Skips has to take care of Mordecai and Rigby, and then he had to watch Skips, but they didn't listen to him, so they tried to find the perfect party, so they just saw that commercial with Party Pete. And then Mordecai and Rigby know they should throw a party but when they got only $5, it's only about 10 minutes and they think it's awesome, but when Party Pete drank the soda, he just loved the soda a lot. And then everybody just had a really big party, and then but the bad part is that Benson knows that they're having a party, and he was gonna fire Mordecai and Rigby, so Mordecai and Rigby had to stop Party Pete, but he was just unstoppable, and then he just blows up and being like a disco ball. And so they had to give him more soda to make him explode. The explosion was amazing, just watch it!
Party Pete's gonna blow! Into that!
And then so the party guests help clean up the mess, and then Benson wanted to fire them, but they're just playing video games now. And then Benson talked about the sodas, and Mordecai and Rigby were gonna be dead, and then the episode just ended. It was an amazing episode. It makes me want to jump up and down and maybe party along with this episode. I know that Benson did find Mordecai and Rigby, like almost, like they actually did, but then they just come back and the episode replace. I think Benson and Mordecai and Rigby will do the same thing, like with the episode replaced. It is a pretty bad one though, but it looked a bit cool. I'm not sure. Well, this episode was awesome. The episode Party Pete is awesome. And the second weirdest regular show episode is Survival Skills. This episode is when Mordecai and Rigby forgot the tortillas for the quesadillas, so they had to go all the way to a forest to get them, but then they just got lost in a forest. And so they just had to go over there, and then they were starving for days and days, and they decided to eat trees, and then the inside is the outside, and then there was just some weird quesadilla invented thing dream that I just saw. It's a bit weird though. Yeah, and then after like a month or maybe a lot of months, I think they were like in the winter that the way that they had to do this is that they had to find a bar to call somebody. And then they did find a bar, but the guy's just been here this whole time.
Everything has changed so much since we've been gone. Is this still called a pine cone?
What year is it? You guys have only been gone a couple hours.
Yeah, that episode was a bit strange, and it makes me want to have a tortilla. And the second darkest regular show episode is Wallpaper Man. This was the third episode of Terror Tales from the Park 2. Yeah, I'm doing a Terror Tales from the Park one. It's a bit strange though, but this episode is with Mordecai and Rigby just wrote something silly. This job is like prison. I found a way out. So Mordecai and Rigby decided to hire a Wallpaper Man to help wallpaper the house, but it decides that the Wallpaper Man is actually mean. He actually kidnapped Benson. And then Mordecai and Rigby and Pops had to save Benson, but Benson was yelling, and then they were just walking into some really dark wallpaper dimension.
What did that guy do?
Yeah, the Wallpaper Man kept on doing some random stuff to Mordecai and Rigby, like the one where they usually get stuck everywhere, like they were in a medical confusion, but the way that they had to do that is they had to scratch out of those wallpapers, and then that wallpaper man just turned into a spider! Yeah, they wanted to be attacked by a spider, and then the way that they had to get the spider to kill them, to make the spider die, is that they had to make get those bombs that they used that box of bombs to make them die. But then they were too late, and then Mordecai and Rigby died from an explosion.
Wait, what?
Time to redecorate? Because of all the wall... just throw it. Whoa! Boom! Eat it, Jan!
Yeah!
Hey, hold on. How far away are we supposed to be before these things go off?
Wait, what?
Yeah, this episode kind of creeped me out just a bit. And it's a bit scary, though. Number 2 worst regular show episode is... The unicorns have got to go! In this episode, Mordecai just saw a commercial of a perfume. I think he wanted to use that perfume to date out with Margaret. But he tried so hard with this perfume. When he tried his hardest, there were unicorns. Like, kind of reminds me of My Little Pony sometimes. Well, this episode was a bit strange that those unicorns were actually breaking and destroying and not working all of their stuff. And they even kidnapped Benson!
Hey, bro, you know this nerd? Check this out.
Yeah, and then those unicorns were farting on Rigby!
Chill out and have a drink.
Yeah, this episode was bad and horrible, and they had to make them go bros, by making them jump off with them right in a trunk and all the way to space. And then Mordecai and Rigby would just use a and then Benson just sprays Mordecai and Rigby with a hose. Man, that episode was bad. Number 2 best regular show episode is Rage Against the TV. In this episode, Mordecai and Rigby were on the final level to beat the hammer in a video game, but the TV just broke. The TV just accidentally broke, and so they tried to do it, and they decided to borrow somebody else's TV, but but they wouldn't. And so they decided to go to a TV store, but they just saw some old black and white TV, which is actually the hammer. And then when they were gonna play that video game, the hammer just came to life. Yeah, and they've been trying their hardest, but this part is very violent. Yeah, well, in this part, the hammer was just using like a big final smash. Yeah, and then they just stopped them by throwing over furniture. This part is super violent. Yeah, in this part, they just grabbed the control pads and then they beat the hammer, which is a great ending. Yeah, this episode was great, and it is a bit violent. And it is a great episode. You guys, now I'm going to be going over my final 4. So, the number 1, so here we go. And without a doubt, the number 1 weirdest regular show episode is Weekend at Benson's. The episode Weekend at Benson's was really weird. It started off with when Benson was sleeping, they wanted to come home, like he wanted to spend a weekend at Benson's, but while they were doing it, Benson has been chosen to participate in a peppering contest. Yeah, and then after that, his mouth is so hot, and then he wanted to drink that big bowl, but then he just woke up, and then Benson decided to drink this with his 2 pals. But after they drank the biggest one yet, they were in this weird dimension thing. Yeah, this dream was very weird and strange. It's like the weirdest one I've ever seen in my life. And that one has a real life song in it too. Yeah, I would usually call it the #1 weirdest regular show episode I've ever seen. And my without a doubt the #1 darkest regular show episode is In the House. This episode was the darkest one. It's a Halloween special. It's Act 3 of Terror Tales from the Part 1. This episode was strange. It's when Rigby was going over the last house, which is the wizard's house. They wouldn't give him any candy, so he decided to throw eggs at his house. And then right after that, Rigby was just turning into a house. Everybody just saw Rigby turn into a house, and then right after that, the witch was killing all of Rigby's friends.
I told you I was ripped. Worst phone call ever. You can't handle the heat. Get out of the kitchen. What's up, Dumbo? I'm here. I won't let anything happen to you. Huh. So this is what it feels like to be as tall as Rigby.
Yeah, and then he just apologized for all this stuff. It's just for the wizard to throw eggs at him.
You turned me into a house and killed all my friends just to throw eggs at me? That's it?
Yep, that's it.
The end.
This episode really disturbed me, and I would usually call it the #1 darkest regular show episode I've ever seen. And without a doubt, the #1 worst regular show episode I've ever seen is Stake Me Amadeus. In this episode, Mordecai wanted to date out with Margaret into having them steaks and to make them have that restaurant called Stake Me Amadeus, but they just gave them some fake money, and it was Pops who did this. Yeah, and then those guys from the Fuzzy Dice, like the ones from that one that looks like Chuck E. Cheese, you know, that was a Fuzzy Dice, but it turns out those electronic animals were alive, and they were attacking the restaurant. And then at the end of the episode, Margaret didn't want to be Mordecai's girlfriend.
I'm sorry, but I can't be your girlfriend.
Yeah, this episode was sad, and then Mordecai wasn't with Margaret's friend anymore, and then it was her last appearance in season 4. What was even that episode? I would usually call Stake Me Amadeus the #1 worst regular show episode I have ever seen. And without a doubt, the #1 best regular show episode of all time is a regular show epic final battle. Yeah, this is the final episode of it. The ending was amazing, and in this episode, with the part that Pops didn't want to fight against anti-Pops, so, in that episode, Don't Cry Pops, Cheer Up Pops, but in that episode, yeah, they decided to make a Blu-ray disc of the complete series of regular show, and in this part, the fight against Pops and anti-Pops was amazing, and the transformation of that final robot was amazing. This battle was amazing. They were fighting over some weird electronical things. Yeah, and then at the ending part, with part 3, when the whole universe is destroyed, they were gonna help him, and anti-Pops just keeps on doing scary things and going back from past, and then going back from the past things, like the original ones. The first college shorts and the title and the adhesive notes. But then, in the ending with Pop's death, Pop decided to hug anti-Pops. Yeah, and they make them die real to the sun. The ending, Pop's death was insane. Watch it.
All those one-star reviews. I wish I could take it all back.
You can try. You and I together, brother. Guess this is it.
If anyone's listening, I want to come back as a dolphin.
Oh, good one. Me too. No, wait, an eagle. No, a pterodactyl with a really big...
Yeah, and then the park dome just came back. Yeah, I know it went right up to the sky and they got that dome. Yeah, and then it just launched it at the finale of season 7. That was crazy. But this episode was amazing, and that was the end of regular show. I think I'll miss your regular show. It was 2 years ago. I would usually call this episode the #1 best regular show episode I've ever seen. And guys, regular show was a show that was canceled, and Adventure Time was canceled last year, and then Gummo's gonna be canceled this year. So I'm gonna miss all the cool memories of regular show, and I'll keep them in my hearts. And Vale's Kebab 94 just kind of keeps on talking about them, I think. But you guys, do you think I missed a particularly weird, or dark, or good, or bad regular show episode? If you think so, leave your thoughts in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.